Well, hi everybody, this is DearMamaSal, and we're going to try one more time. I just need to put up a couple of links and then hopefully we will be live. I just need to paste that. There's one. Sorry about this, just for some reason my browser had a moment, but hopefully this is working now. Okay, let's see if this works. All right, can any of you hear me? Ah. Okay, yay, thanks, Beth. Welcome. All right, so for everybody that's just joined in, we're running about half an hour late, but for that I apologize, but it was a technical problem over which I had no real control. I got back as fast as I could. And we are going to smile this evening because this is about life gets in the way sometimes, and that's okay. All right, so for those of you who are new, welcome. And just to let you know, we do 3 broadcasts a week, 2 of them on Fridays, one at lunchtime and the other at 7, normally at 7 on a Friday evening. Those are both Pacific times. And then we do another one on Sunday at 3:30 Pacific. And the different broadcasts have different topics on them. On Friday lunchtime, we do a learning module. Friday evenings, we try to smile a bit. And then Sundays, we sort of calm the whole thing down. And on Sunday evening, we actually just try to almost get into a meditation mode and just get ourselves ready for the week. You will notice a different background today. I am in my spare bedroom, and for those of you who saw Big Brother Jeff, that's where he was sleeping. And I've just had a showing of my house, and that's why I had to move everything in here. But we will be back to normal, hopefully, on Sunday. Right, so everybody, we are going to smile. We just give everybody a little bit of a chance to get back in because we've had to change the stream twice now, and hopefully everything's good. In the meantime, Isabel, good to see you. Beth, great to see you as well. Jody, thank you for making it back, and thank you for trying to help. I have a feeling. Okay, thanks, Jody. If you could send that link to Nyasha, that would be awesome. I did put it up on Facebook, and hi, Nana, thank you for finding us. I put it up on Facebook and on Twitter, so hopefully everybody should get a notification. Plus, when I go live, it probably sent you a notification. Did it send you one, Nana, or did you find it somewhere else? Presumably you found us, so therefore somehow you got the new link. All right, welcome everybody, and thank you for being with me. We're going to smile a bit today. I decided that after you just kept trying until it worked. Well, I appreciate that. It's been a strange sort of day. My Chrome browser, for some reason, just had a little bit of a snit, and I don't know why it did, but such is life, right? All right, so today we're going to be having some fun, hopefully some fun with some great answers that students gave on tests. Now, I don't know about you, but some of them just really make me laugh a great deal. And I've got all sorts of them, but hopefully I can still get to them all with all that's been going on. So the first one was a question that asked, what is the greatest force on Earth? and the student's reply was love, which I thought was rather cute. Don't think it was the answer the teacher wanted, but I thought it was cute. All right, so how about, let's see how you guys can do on this one. What ended in 1896? Anybody know? What ended in 1896? And the answer that the student gave just hopefully will make your day. I must admit, when I read the answer that the student gave, I thought, gosh, why didn't I give an answer like that when I was at school? Okay, so the answer that the student gave to the question, what ended in 1896? The student said 1895. I just thought that was priceless. So what ended in 1896? 1895. Now, this one's a bit more challenging, people, so I hope you're up for it. This question was, how do you change centimeters to meters? How do you change centimeters into meters? Anybody smart enough to know the answer to that one? And and the, and the answer that was given by the student was you just take out centi. You need to see that, I think. Hang on a second. All right, so okay, so how do you change centimeters into meters? You just take this bit out. Now, I don't know about you, but I thought that was really funny. Hi, Nerlene. I thought I would never thought of that. Okay. So here was a question from the teacher, or you had to fill in the blank, and it said, "I earn money at home by dot dot dot." Obviously, encouraging children to earn their fair keep. Um, Frankie answered it with, "I earn money at home by, actually, I don't. I'm a freeloader." There must be there must be times when teachers just crack up laughing, right? Now, everybody ready for the next one? And this is another one where they start the sentence and then you have to finish it. And it started this way. Question 8 said, the first cells were probably... And the one student answered, lonely. How many of you going, "Aw"? And then the teacher asked, or you said, write an example of a risk. A risk, okay? And the one student answered, this. And the teacher actually corrected, said it was a correct answer. All right, now here's one of those wonderful questions about your home life. How do you make a marriage work? Was a question asked of the students. And the answer from this one student was, you tell your wife that she looks pretty, even if she looks like a dump truck. Now, how many of you are thinking, where had that student heard that piece of information? Okay, so All right, let's see how you do on these. This was one of those, it said say and write these words. Can you think of an animal that ends in OW, people? A three-lettered word ending in OW. And that would, of course, be cow. And then how about a four-lettered, oh, you now know what it is, but never mind. And this was a four-letter word, which was bird. And then we had another three-letter word, which was cat. Got the idea? It got challenging. Then we had this one, which you probably all would say was dog. And this is the one that caused a problem. This is the one that caused the problem. Can you? The right answer was obviously, but you probably don't need to be a rocket scientist yet to work out what one of the students wrote instead. When you see this test, this wasn't a very old students. This was quite young students, and the fact that they put the obvious word letter in there really had me a bit worried. Okay. All right, now listen to this one. This is where they were doing the opposites. All right, so the opposite of good being bad, and the opposite of black being white. The third one was the opposite of original. What do you think the opposite of original is? What would you say if you had that in a test? What is the opposite of original? I'm going to need more coffee soon. So, the opposite of original. Yes, fake would be a good opposite, or artificial. Yeah, very good, Nyasha. And this student wrote. Oh, that's very droll there, Beth. Beth saying the opposite of original is crispy. Um, anyway, so this student wrote China. In other words, if it's fake, it came from China. I thought that was really interesting. All right, so this next um, teacher asked for a particular answer, and then after it, asked the question, explain how you know this answer, right? And the student said, I read it in a book. Like, how else do you think I know? Okay, now I've got to blow this up a bit so I can read it. All right, so are you ready? Are you ready to cry with laughter here? Oh gosh, it's very painful. Take a deep breath, everybody. First skill testing question. In which battle did Napoleon die? Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so whatever your answer was, this student wrote his last one. For some reason, the teacher didn't like that. Now, this is quite a well-known one, but in case you haven't heard it before, where was the Declaration of Independence signed? Now, I'm pretty sure that all of you from the States know this. Where was the Declaration of Independence signed? And the student answered at the bottom of the page. Yeah, Sharon's saying on the dotted line, you know. Okay, the river Ravi flows in which state? Was the question. And the student answered, in the liquid state. Which isn't altogether wrong. And the same student answered his next question, or her next question, with, what is the main reason for divorce? And the same student answered, marriage. How can you fault him on that? Okay. And then said, what is the main reason for exams? And the same student wrote, failure. So you might wonder how the teacher marked this particular test. She gave him an F for fail, and underneath it wrote A+ for creativity. I thought that was wonderful. All right, so here was a question, and this was called question number 5, and it said, what do we call the science of classifying living things? Okay, what do we call the science of classifying living things? And the student answered, racism. But wait, there's more. It said that there was enough information in the table to estimate, on the table that they showed, to estimate the length of day on Jupiter. All right. Oh, is there enough information on the table to estimate the length of day on Jupiter? And the student answered bacon. And I'm going, what? And then the question went on to say, give your reasons for your answer. And the student wrote, bacon is always the answer. How many of you going, yeah? Okay. I thought, some of these are priceless. Okay, and let's see what this one is. This is okay. This one, no, I better not do that one because it's a little bit close to the mark. Which which is the best estimate for the length of a football? Would you say 1 foot, 4 feet, 5 feet, or 8 feet? and, and the student wrote 1 foot ball, added the word ball after it. Clever. And how about this? This student that was a little bit challenged with the question, what is the height of the Eiffel Tower? And drew this incredible answer. Are you ready? I hope you're laughing, guys. It was a little, okay, this is me, he wrote. And then put, this is a tree. And then drew a giraffe. Oh, well, you obviously had some spots on it, right? And and then he just drew this and went, really? The answer to the question, the height of the Eiffel Tower, really tall was his answer, like taller than a giraffe. Creative, I thought. You know, can you imagine actually showing what your thinking was? So clever. Yeah, I thought it was cute. All right, now how about this one? Oh no, that's I can't show you. Some of these are a little bit sexy, so therefore I don't want to get zapped on YouTube. All right. Now this one, take a breath before you are you under control, people? The question was, describe what is meant by forgetting. I wonder what your answer would be. This student wrote, I can't remember. I hope they gave them a plus for that one because I thought that was clever. Um, all right, so let's see what else I can find for you. All right, now this is called priorities. All right. The question that the students were asked are, what are 3 things you want to do in the future? By the style of the writing, I gather this was yeah, hi Benji. I gather this was a pretty young student. But this is what he said, the 3 things he wanted for the future. Number 1, to get a girlfriend. Number 2, to kiss her. And number 3, to rule the world. Oh, do you remember when? All right, so let's see if I can read. All right. I can't read that one because it may be controversial. Okay, hold on a second, people. All right, so here we've got some fun ones, all right? If you were talking to somebody that knew nothing about this time period, how would you describe, first of all, the progressive movement? And the answer that the student gave was a time when women and children suddenly became important and you couldn't drink your way out of it because alcohol is illegal. How would you describe muckraking? And what did they do and how did it affect American society? The answer written was they exposed industries for all the bad things they would do, and it brought attention to it, and it changed. The changes were very changes the way industry did things. By the way, more peace to the world indeed. Thanks, Benji. That's so true. And by the way, how many of you seen that Swedish student who actually has asked for the politicians to do more about climate change, that has created a whole movement across the world just by speaking out? You know, one voice is definitely enough if it's the right one voice. Hi, Crystal. Good to see you. I think it's Crystal. All right, now then. This one, this one, some of you are going to love, all right? So the question was, why are there 3 rings on Saturn, the planet Saturn? And the student answered, because God liked it, so he put a ring on it. How many of you know that song? Yeah. Okay, let's see what else I can find for you. Here's the question. How about Tony practices the piano 20 minutes every day. What is the effect? And the student wrote, he is a big nerd. All right, this one is extremely clever, I think. It said, imagine that you lived at the same time as Abraham Lincoln. What would you say to him or ask him? Now, you can think of your own answer to that. You know, if you lived in the time of Abraham Lincoln, what would you say to him or ask him? But this answer blew me away. This student, in all seriousness, said, I'd tell him not to go to a play. Yeah, right, Sharon. Don't go to a play ever. Yeah, Sharon, he had your mind. um, there was one that I saw that said, you are a Chinese immigrant. It was trying to explain the difficulties of being an immigrant, and it said you are a Chinese immigrant, and you need to write a letter home to your family to describe what it's like living in the States or in Canada or wherever it was that it happened. Now, the funny thing is that there was actually a Chinese person answering that question. So guess what? They wrote the letter home in Chinese. How can that be wrong? How can that possibly be wrong? He did exactly what he was told. He wrote a letter home to describe what it was like. Now, I don't read Chinese, so I can't tell you whether he actually made sense or not. So the question, part one, which you were allowed to take 1 hour and 45 minutes on, question one was explain how the Cold War started. All right, everybody got that question? How did the Cold War start? So what it said is explain how the Cold War started. And the student said, no. I mean, if you don't know, you don't know, right? Some of these I can't read, so you just have to bear with me. The fireman said, dot, dot, dot. And the young, and by the way, this must have been quite young children because the way that they've put dotted lines there. The fireman said, I will put the fire out. The firewoman said, dot, dot, dot. Oh my lipstick's burning. How's that for being sexist? All right, this is this is another one that you're either going to love or not. Write the Beer-Lambert law and define all its qualities. Okay, the Beer-Lambert. And this was the answer. And the teacher said, wrong beer. Gave him -10. Can you believe how wicked is that? I would have given them something for creativity. I think that's brilliant. I wish I thought of some of these. All right, so let's see here. What have we got? Oh, one of the best ones. One of the best ones I saw, I can't remember what the figures were, but it showed this, and it sort of had 6 by 8, and then this is X, right? And the question was, find X. How many of you are into this sort of stuff? And the student wrote, it's here. I just went, oh, that's priceless. How can you not? How can you be a teacher and keep a straight face? If it's just like, yeah, he's right, that's where X is. Not quite what I wanted for the answer, but not altogether wrong either. Oops. Um, Are you ready? Yeah, bless him. Okay, listen to everybody. This is a very serious question. This was, what is the purpose of adding dilute sulfuric acid? All right, so what is the purpose of adding dilute sulfuric acid? And the teacher wrote to confuse the students. Hi there, Anna. Welcome. We are talking. We are talking about some answers that children have given on their exam papers. If you had to describe school with one word, how would you describe it? What is your definition? If you could only use one word to describe school, how would you describe it? Let's see what answers we get. I'm sure we get different answers from different people. Describe school in one word. I definitely would have said fun, because it was fun for me. I enjoyed school. I got into all sorts of trouble at school, so I enjoyed it. Um, and I got to play all sorts of sports and do all sorts of things that really I shouldn't have done. So it definitely was fun. Horrible, says Pat. And yet, Pat, you didn't like school, and yet you've got a daughter that excelled and went to Harvard. It's just like, isn't that amazing? All right. You hated it, and she obviously loved it. So let's see. Anybody else got any input on that? How one word to describe school for you? What was it like for you? And this student who answered said, "Hell." Yeah, Pat, isn't that amazing, right? It goes to show that very little of sometimes it doesn't get passed on the way you think it does. All right, Sharon said elementary was fun and high school was fun. Middle school was terrible. Yes. Crystal's going, her school was a roller coaster. Yeah, I thought it was a good answer as well, Pat. Let me just try and find one. Some of these I can't read. Okay, this was a clever one. A memorable for Nyasha, but not in a nice way. All right, I'm sorry to hear that. Um, you had to decide which was the right word to put in. All right, so a man can rub, run, or rug. All right, the answer was obviously run. And then it had a fox, sorry, a something ran, and it showed a picture of a fox. All right, so then um, the one that caused a problem was the man did something to the dog. Did he fit the dog or hit the dog? And the student made up a new answer and put in the word pet rather than hit and said, you should not hit dogs. Good for you, youngster. Very impressed. Hold on one second while I find the next one. That one said, "Dear Rachel, you're the second best teacher ever. Grade school," Jody said, "was such fun. After that, yeah." Right. All right. So, all right. Now, I'm not quite sure where this student's mind was at, but we will try. Okay. Um, all work and no play makes Jack happy. Don't bite the hand, Jack. When the cat's away, you will pay. People in glass houses are rich. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Yay, you got a point for that one. Don't count your chickens because they need privacy. Don't put all your eggs in there. It's all Greek language. And then this one, priceless. It's all fun and games until Darth Vader arrives. How do they cope with these? All right, now then, this is an interesting one. If you were a kid and had to answer, what is love? I wonder what your answer would have been. Do I have any takers on that one? How would you describe what is love? Right? And I am certain there are all sorts of variations to that, and who's to say what is the right answer? I've always said love is the feeling I get when I'm near you. All right, this is about I to me, love is a feeling that I get. I don't know if any of you understand what I'm trying to say here, but it's like love to me is something I feel. But I feel it when I'm near another person who's, makes me feel that way. And so this student answered, "What is love? Baby, don't hurt me no more." How many of you can sing that song? All right. Yeah. All right, let me see what else I can find. Oh yeah, this was the this was the Chinese person who had to write a letter home. Um, that one even I don't understand. Nor that one. That one is rude. What would you do with your friends and family? Complete the sentences below with action verbs like jump, drive, float, or swim. All right, that was the question. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. And then I like to move it, move it. Now, the option, they had all sorts of great words that were suggested, but apparently not so much. Okay, let me see if I can read what this clever answer was about. Write a program that prints the numbers from 1 to 100, but for all right, that's difficult to read. Sorry, people, I can't read that one because I can't read all the letters. The question was, do you feel like you're good at math? And the answer was yes. What are your favorite parts of math? telling time, and multiplication. Do you feel your math has improved this year? Yes. How do you know? I practice a lot. Praktis. And this was the question at the end. What would you still like to learn? Okay, obviously a teacher trying to find out what to teach them next. Then the answer was how Jay Den gets girls. Wouldn't we all like to know that one? Okay, let's see what else I can find here. Hang on, some of these. Some of these are really difficult to read. All right. So what I'm going to do is move on to some other ones. By the way, I hope that some of you got some smiles from that. And the next one I want to find is here. Just hold on one second. All right. So here we go. Let's see what I can find for you on this one. Draw a picture of what you will look like in 100 years. And Warren drew which I thought was very clever. Yeah, definitely that would be my answer in 100 years, right? All right, so let me get the next one here. Just bear with me. The next one was hang on. Some of these are repeats from the ones I've already read to you, so just need to find some that are not repeats. These are all repeats. Okay. So Miranda can't see anything when she looks down her microscope. Suggest one reason why not. Okay, so Miranda's looking into her microscope and she can't see anything. Suggest one reason why not. I think they probably wanted you to say because the cap was still on the microscope. The student answered, and because she's blind. Yeah, it could be true. A little kid wrote this letter for his teacher after he was told she was sick. Dear Mrs. Clark, I heard you did not feel too good. It actually says felt too good, but feel too good. Well, when that when that happens, there's a trick that I've learned. Just go poop. I'm not kidding. It works with me. And when I feel bad, I just remember, go poop. And then I don't feel bad. Isn't that so cute? Hang on one second. All right, hold on one second. This one says, question 3. If I am late for class, I will ... burst into class and comment on Mr. Thomas's moustache. Okay? And Mr. Thomas will blush and say thanks. Cute. All right, so this is going to be exciting. How many days are there in a week? And the answer was 7. How many months in a year? And the student wrote 12. Is the number even or odd? The number was 68, and the student said it's even. And it said, how do you know? And the student says, because I'm smart. How can you fight that one? Now, this one was brilliant. No, seriously, this one was brilliant. It had different shapes, like this, like this, like this, like this, and like this. And the question was, name the quadrilateral. And so the student went. Really? How many of you can relate? Loved it. Okay. See what else I can find for you. So, okay, we've seen that one before. This one is clever. All right. The question was, what do you think is the best solution to overpopulation? Support your argument with examples. And the student wrote, the Hunger Games. Well, this student had obviously assignment to do at home, and at the bottom of the page it had parent's signature and a line, and the student wrote. Little bit of a giveaway. By the way, the writing was very infantile, but it was cute. Actually, I can remember doing that. I got to babies, to child mind, a student once while their parents went away overseas, and it was so funny because the first night the child came to me and said, can you sign my homework? And I said, why? Well, I need it signed that I did it. So I said, okay, well, let me see it. And then she said, no, you don't have to see it. You just have to sign that I did it. And I said, well, if I don't see it, how can I know that you did it? It was really interesting. In the 3 weeks she was with me, her grades improved dramatically. All right, now this one, let's see how clever you are. This one was, I think, really clever. It said, name 6 animals which live specifically in the Arctic. Name 6 animals which live specifically in the Arctic. And the student answered, 2 polar bears and 4 seals. I like that thinking. All right, now this one asked the question was a statement, and it said, "I think my mom, should do less." Okay, and the picture was of mom holding a wine glass, and it said underneath, I think mom should do less drinking wine." Well, you asked. Okay, cute. Out of the mouth of babes, right? All right. So the difference between 180 and 158 is, and the student answered 22. And then the test paper said, how do you explain how you found your answer to problem 4, which was that one. And the teacher put math. I mean, the student put math. Like, bozo. How else would I do it? Hang on a second. I got to find one that we haven't seen. A couple of these are repeated. That was the doggy one. Okay, that's all of those done. Let me see if I can find some other ones for you. I had fun finding these. Okay, just hold on. Now, this one was, I thought, incredibly clever. A college class was told they had to write a short story in as few words as possible. The instructions were the short story had to contain the following 3 things: 1, religion; 2, sexuality; and 3, mystery. Below is the only A plus short story in the entire class. And here's what the student wrote: "Good God, I'm pregnant. I wonder who did it." Clever. Religion, good God. Sexuality, I'm pregnant. Then the mystery, I wonder who did it. Clever. So the next the next one was an incredibly difficult square root problem, and what it said at the bottom was, the answer is wrong. Use an example to show that Tracy is wrong. And the student wrote, "She's a woman." Now, this was clever. I don't know if any of you are into this stuff, but this was an equation, and it was 1 over n x equals question mark. And then this is how it went: 1 over n sin, oops, and they crossed out the n, x equals, okay, so they crossed out that n and that n, so 1 equals 6. How many of you can see that? It actually is very clever. I don't think I would have found it that way. All right. Okay, here's another math one for those of you that are good on those, which is the square root of 2 over 2 equals, and they went. I don't know about you guys, but I found that funny. um, all right, so here we got some written ones. These are from test papers and essays submitted to science and health teachers by junior high, high school, and college students from around the world. All right, are you ready for this? Have any of you had enough? How do you like when you breathe, you inspire, and when you do not breathe, you expire? Can you guys still hear me? I haven't seen any comments for the longest time. Okay, thanks, Jody. All right, so now I've got to get that back again. All right, here's the next one. H2O is hot water and CO2 is cold water. Now think about this one. When you smell an odorless gas, it's probably carbon monoxide. All right, breathe, everybody. This one is good. Okay. Water is composed of 2 gins. Oxygen and hydrogen. And then they went on to explain the answer by saying oxygen is pure gin and hydrogen is gin and water. Very creative. There are 3 kinds of blood vessels. They are arteries, veins, and caterpillars. Hi there, Lauren. By the way, everybody, just give Lauren a gentle hug. I'm certain that you all know that Lauren does not have use of her legs, and she fell. Did you fall out of bed, Lauren? She was stretching over to get something and she fell. And, you know, for any of us to fall out of bed is pretty nasty. But, you know, if you don't have the use of your legs, I that must be terrifying. That's all I could think about, how terrifying that must have been for you, Lauren. So my thoughts and prayers are with you. And Jody, can you remind me just to put up a note about that to the viewers, because I'm certain other people would want to send their thoughts and prayers as well. All right, here's the next one, people. Deep breath. Blood flows dot dot dot, and the answer was down one leg and up the other. How? The moon is dot 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 a planet just like the Earth, but it's even deader. And this one was artificial insemination is, and the answer given was when the farmer does it to the cow instead of the bull. Now, this one was incredibly clever, I thought. You'd have to be very creative to see this one. It said mushrooms always grow in damp places, and so they look like umbrellas. Isn't that cute? All right, this one, I wonder if I can get through it all with a straight face. Hang on a second. I need to just concentrate. All right, ready? The body consists of three parts: the brainium, the borax, and the abominable cavity. The brainium contains the brain, the borax contains the heart and lungs, and the abominable cavity contains the bowels. I think he meant bowels, of which there are five: A, E, I, O, and you. And the alimentary canal is located ... And the answer was in the northern part of Indiana. The skeleton is ... The answer given was, what is left after the insides have been taken out and the outsides have been taken off? The purpose of the skeleton is something to hitch meat to. Yeah, the northern part of Indiana. I love that too. All right, here you go, people. A fossil is... The answer given was an extinct animal. The older it is, the more extinct it is. Now this is really clever if you like a play on words. The question that the statement made was, many women believe that an alcoholic binge will have no ill effects on an unborn fetus. But that is a large misconception. Not misperception, but a misconception. Clever. The equator, what is it? It's a menagerie menagerie lion running around the earth through Africa. How, how many of you can see this lion? And menagerie lion, not imaginary, but menagerie lion running around the earth through Africa. All right, everybody, let's see how you do on this one. To germinate. What does it mean? Yes, it's exactly what it was, Jody. All right, to germinate, what does it mean? And the student answered, to become a naturalized German. Liter, Liter. And the student answered, a nest of young puppies. Not to be confused with a litter, apparently. Magnet, you know, a magnet, all right? You got to wonder where these minds are. The answer given was something you find crawling all over a dead cat. Momentum is apparently what you give a person when they're going away. A planet is apparently a body of Earth surrounded by sky. Rhubarb apparently is a kind of celery that's gone bloodshot. Now, this one, be careful, people. If you didn't know it, it's important that you know. Vacuum, by the way, and it was spelt incorrectly, but never mind. Vacuum, a large empty space where the Pope lives. For all you Roman Catholics, the Pope lives in a vacuum. Now, this one, for those of you who are, sort of on the medical side, you might be able to help me with this one. It said to remove dust from the eye, pull the eye down over the nose. How many of you got that visual? Or for a nosebleed, apparently put the nose much lower than the body until the heart stops. Listen carefully to the next one. For drowning, climb on top of the person and move up and down to make artificial perspiration. Now, careful with this one, everybody. For fainting, rub the person's chest, or if a lady, rub her arm above the hand instead, or put the head between the knees of the nearest medical doctor. For asphyxiation, apply artificial respiration until the patient is dead. Apparently, to prevent contraception, wear a condominium. Listen to this one carefully. For head cold, use an agonizer to spray the nose until it drops into your throat. And then, really, the top one of these was to keep milk from turning sour. And the answer given was keep it in the cow. And it's a no-brainer, right? Have you had enough? Okay, so I'm hoping that that gave you guys some smiles on this Friday evening. I had a really, I had an amazing day today. For those of you who know that I have a diabetes or pre-diabetes situation. Well, I'm glad you laughed, Jody, because that is what I try to do, is to make sure I find things that will make you laugh. To me, it's just like, sometimes it gets to be a challenge. What can I find now to make them laugh? But I've been dying to do that particular series for quite some time, and I just needed the right day to do it, and I really think today was the right day. So for those of you who know that I'm struggling with my blood sugar, well, I'm learning how not to, thanks to Jody and Lauren. But the interesting thing about the blood sugar was today, because I was so busy, to have two broadcasts and a showing of my house all at the same time was just a little bit overwhelming. And for those of you who haven't seen it, the lunchtime broadcast was all about overwhelm. and we discussed the overwhelm that Erin went through with the death of her daddy. We talked about overwhelm when somebody tells lies about you um, at work. We also had overwhelm. We had 3 different things. Anyway, so we had different examples of it. What I wanted to tell you was that I got up this morning and I had really was on a mission to get everything done so I could do all the things today. That's a lot of different things that I needed to fit in. So I had a very busy day yesterday, and I was talking about that at lunchtime. How did I manage to juggle all those different things in one day? And so for those of you who have a problem with multitasking, I know some of you are really good at it. But what I try to show is when you are overwhelmed, this is how I manage to get it settled down so that I can do all the things I need to do. Well, the interesting thing was that but after the broadcast, I made sure I had some oatmeal. That's what I had. And then I went out. Actually, before the broadcast, before lunchtime, I had some oatmeal. And then what I did is when they were doing the showing of my house, I went out and I was so proud of myself. I went to the local Safeway and I got myself 4 slices of turkey meat, turkey breast, white meat, and then a little container, sort of yay big, of coleslaw. And I thought that was really good. And then the wheels came off. Do any of you relate to this? You're doing so well with whatever it is you're trying to achieve, and suddenly the wheels just fall off. I walked past a Mars bar and I picked it up. Haven't had a Mars bar in goodness knows how long. And then it got worse. I walked past, I think it's called a vanilla slice, where it sort of has icing on top, and then it has puff pastry, and then it has custard, and then more puff pastry. You know what I'm talking about? I got that as well. And, it was so funny. But here is the incredible thing. Because all I had was the oatmeal, the deli meat, and the coleslaw, when I threw it all into my system to find out how bad I'd been, the amazing thing is, I know this is hard to believe. Actually, I had 2 pieces of I had 2 cheese slices as well. And what I have to tell you is that so far today, it's only added up to 932 calories and 45% only carbs. So what I wanted to say to you is that sometimes you think you're doing yourself a terrible disservice. And funny enough, it's not as bad as you think it is. Now, obviously, when I take my blood sugar tomorrow morning, it'll be interesting. But I'm working hard to make sure I consume a lot of liquid to try and water that down a bit. But it was so good. It really was. Isn't it amazing, though, that I've still only had 930 something calories, having had a Mars bar and a vanilla slice. It's just amazing to me. All right. So any news and updates that you'd like to share? This would be a good time. I'm glad that Lauren is here. And Lauren, I just want to make sure that we understand you didn't break any bones. You're sore, but you haven't done any major damage to yourself by having that fall. I was wondering, Lauren, how high off the ground is your bed? Do you have like a hospital bed? I know Jody does, but I wondered whether you do as well, or do you have what we would consider a regular bed in terms of height? Because just when I heard that you fell off your bed, to fall off a bed, is pretty frightening to do that for anybody. And so, and nothing broken that you know of. Okay. Ego, perhaps. I don't know about you, Lauren. It's about then that you go, I know better than to lean that far over, right? What was I thinking? What did you say to yourself, honey? After you realized you were going to live. I just wonder what you said to yourself. Now, all right. So Niesha says, I don't think you should worry, Mama Sal. I do that sometimes, but it's all right because if you load up on sugar during the day, avoid it for the rest of the day. Yeah, exactly. Um, all right. So Lauren's saying she only has a regular bed. It's just a couple of feet off the ground. Yeah, so thank goodness for that. A little higher might have done even more damage. But you were saying, all right, so it's difficult for people to understand this. If I just help me and let me know if I describe this correctly. You don't have the use of your legs. You have legs, all right, but you don't have the use of them. And when you fell, you ended up with one leg under your body that you couldn't move. Am I correct in that? It was like s stuck in a way that you couldn't move it. And then you called for an ambulance, but they couldn't, the regular ambulance wasn't available right then. You poor thing. It must have been so scary. Yeah, really, Lauren. Lauren's saying a lot of interesting words came out of her mouth. I can imagine. Short ones, Lauren. Very descriptive. But I can imagine, to me, it's like, right, one leg was twisted under the other. That sounds, ugh, it must be so difficult. And did you have the strength to be able to move your legs physically? All right. So, Niesha's saying, um, do you have a grabber so you can get distant objects? Yeah, I've got one of those. Does anybody not know what that looks like? Because I think mine's fairly close if anybody would like to see what that looks like. By the way, I decided to solve a problem that I had this week. What I've noticed, and I don't know if any of you have had this happen, I wonder whether Pat's had this happen. For some reason, I have a feeling Pat might understand this. Um, but what I've noticed is when I go to get into my Jeep, which is sort of higher up, I'm having difficulty lifting my left leg in. All right. It's painful for me to do that. And it's been sort of going on for a while. And I also noticed that it's difficult for me to lift it up to put socks on or put shoes on or whatever. Do you all understand what I'm talking about? Um, and so what I decided to do this week is stop muttering about it and do something about it. And what I've started to do, and obviously Lauren can't do this because she doesn't have use of her legs, but when I stand at the kitchen counter, I am now consciously lifting my knee up to the kitchen counter level, and one knee and then the other, one knee and the other. And I can assure you that my left leg does not want to come up as high. But after a few days of doing this, I can now lift my left knee almost up to the counter. And I noticed today when I got in the car, it wasn't as painful. So instead of feeling the pain, I needed to do something to exercise those muscles. So that's really important. The other thing is, I am quite surprised. Today, obviously, isn't one of those days, but I have been pushing myself. Oh, I lie. I've been pushing myself to do over 5,000 steps a day. Um, right. I need to get more energy going because, winter is coming. And I think I have so far done something like 5 out of 6 days where I've done over 5,000, and my average is over 5,000. So do something about it. So Lauren's saying she landed partway on her side, so was using her arms to keep her from lying on the floor. Yeah. Um, That it's just so difficult. Jody, I was thinking about you. I know that you are um, aware that I went out to actually walk a bit this week. I went round the block once, and I went and did a 10-minute challenge, um, which actually takes about 15 minutes. The full block takes about 20 something. And the interesting thing to me was that I actually did it better than I thought I was going to, because I haven't been out walking this summer. I've been very lazy. But what I said is, I just, I need to step up my game, literally step up my game. And I'm also, have any of you tried doing a stepper? I've got a staircase, so that's a big stepper. But what I realize is that the reason that I'm having problems lifting my legs is because I haven't done enough exercise that needs that to happen. So obviously, going up and down stairs is very important to me right now if I want to rebuild those muscles. Now, some of you can say, okay, so why don't you go to the gym and do that? I would prefer to do it without spending money if I can. The other thing is, I do have a total gym. The problem is that I've put it away for the showings, but any minute now I'm going to pull it back out again and start using it, because I don't care if people don't want to see it. I need it to exercise those muscles. I have found out that my total gym exercises more muscles than most things. I can do 20 minutes on there, or even 15, and I know I've used just about every muscle in my body. All right, so Jody's saying you've inspired me to start doing the leg lifts again. You did 100 a day minimum. Wow. It's a pleasure, Jody. Does anybody else need to start focusing on stepping up their game in some way? Jody, I want you to think back, honey, if you wouldn't mind. I want you to think back a year, when, doing 100 leg lifts was probably way out of your imagination. All right, Aniash is saying, Mama Sal, in regards to me learning how the world works and the people in it, is there an audiobook for this? For example, manipulating coworkers, how to remain calm in a hostile environment. I would just Google it, Niasha. You will be surprised. I definitely think I would start with how to win friends and influence people, because that teaches you what to say. And I think that is part of your problem. Dealing with manipulating people, I will put that on the list, Niasha, so we make sure we cover that in a skill section one Friday. That's a good one. How to remain calm in a hostile environment. Yeah, that happened to me yesterday, Niasha. It was one of the things that happened to me, was that somebody reacted badly to something I said. Um, And what I did was I decided not to participate, Niasha. You see, that is a choice that you have, not to participate. Even if what they say isn't fair or is wrong, you can choose not to participate. And, I think from what I know about you, Niasha, your problem is you don't know what to say. All right. So you feel a little bit trapped, and like they're saying things, but you don't know how to reply. And that is why I really want to be able to try and help you with a few things. And that is something we all need to learn. What do you say when somebody does X, Y, and Z? And as I said yesterday, I was so busy when this went down. What I did is I remembered I'm only responsible for my behavior, not the other person's. And I looked at them, and, I literally said, I am sorry. I'm sorry that I did this. Even though I didn't think that I was wrong, I apologized for it. Lauren, you're asking, is the situation better today? It was better yesterday. Later in the evening, it calmed down quite a bit. All right. So I tell you what, Nyasha, how about this? Why don't you send me some of the things that you would like answers to? So send me what you hear people say that you don't know how to respond to them. All right. So come up with 10 of them, and I'll gladly think about that. A lot of the problem, Niasha, is that you react. And what happens is they push you and you want to push back. What I'd love to be able to teach you is how to not push back, but how to stand and just give a rational answer. That I'd love to be able to help you with that. So give me some of the things that people say that hurt you and explain to me why it hurts you so I can really be inside your head. And then I will try and help you with a few answers if that would be helpful to you. Also, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some broadcasts on how to win friends and influence people, because I think we all need to have a reminder of that one as well. The main thing is when you can learn to let it go, which is the subject that I know you want me to talk about, when you can learn not to react, you are going to be a happier person. I know it doesn't feel like it. You see, it doesn't really matter what other people think of you. That's what gets you every time, is you don't like that people think this way about you. When you don't care anymore, it's amazing the difference it makes. I have all sorts of people make some horrible judgments about me, Niasha, and I just go, hey, they're entitled to what they think. Not true. I know it's not true. My friends know it's not true. I don't care. But it takes a while to get there. Jody, all right, I just want to say the answer that Jody gave me about a year ago. She said, basically, I was bedridden a year ago, to be honest. Leg lifts weren't possible then. So, Jody, what changed? Think about that. What changed from being bedridden to now being able to walk? And I know you're working on walking a little bit farther each time. The other thing is, I found it, you made me smile when you told me that you tried the squirt bottle of water with Taylor, and that how well it worked. I've been trying to tell you that for as long as Taylor's been in your life. And so the question I have, why did it take you so long to try it? Did you think it was cruel? You had a good reason for not trying it earlier. But, it was so cute when you told me, it works like a hot damn. I'm going, yeah, I know it does. That's why I suggested you try it. Which is like, duh. All right. So, Niasha, I want you to write all these things down. All right. Because I can't write them down and copy and paste them at the moment. So I'd like you to write me an email. You know how to get hold of me? You know how to get hold of me because you do it. And you or write me something on Messenger, however is the easiest for you. And just write me those questions. And then when I've got time, I will copy and paste them together. And then I will work on some of those. And Jody gives the perfect answer here. I will no longer underwrite my excuses, although sometimes there are valid ones. I agree with you, Jody. Just doing a little each day. Also, the weight loss has helped my mobility. Right. I quite agree. So, Jody, the same way as I decided, if you want your legs to work, Sal, you got to do something to strengthen them. It's not going to happen. Oh, Jody, what an incredibly honest answer. That brings tears to my eyes, literally. Jody's answer to why did she wait so long to zap, Taylor with that spray bottle, she said, I thought he'd hate me for it. Oh, I can relate to that. But you see, does he respect you now, Jody? You see, that's the difference. It's eh, you wouldn't let a child do what he's doing. All right. So why would you let a dog do it? And so to me, one of the first things I always, take time on is respect. All right. And Jody said it's more than respect, and you've saved our couch. Yeah. I mean, I want to tell you, I used to say no in a voice that meant it, and if that dog continued, spray with the bottle. It's just like, um, and by the way, I would start with a nice little spray, just as a warning. And if I found that still wasn't getting, I'd just take it up a notch, Jody, to the straight stream, like, phoom, that gets their attention really well. Um, and the thing is, start with the no. Because what you want Taylor to do is to respond to the word no, right? And you need to not go no. You need to go no, right? Like you really mean it. All right. And then have your gun ready, your spray bottle, so that if Taylor doesn't stop immediately, you go no and spray. Um, all right. So Nyasha, I need you to write these down for me. All right, because then I can and talk to them. Some of these I think are your issue, not theirs. What I hear in some of these issues, it is human nature for people to ask you. All right. It's like, Jody, how many times do people ask you, why your body exploded the way it did with lymphedema? Lauren, how many times have people asked you what happened to your legs? All right. So you cannot have these things in your life, all right, and not expect people to ask you about them. It's not human nature. Human nature is people care. It's not that they want to be nosy. It's they actually care enough to say, "Hey, what happened to your legs?" Or, "Jody, what happened to your body that it blew up like that?" And they're probably scared to even ask you. But I want to say that I respect the people that overcome their ego and actually do ask me awkward questions like that. All right? Because I know it's not easy to ask that. And Lauren, how do you feel about people asking you time and time again what happened to your legs? All right? Because every new person you meet is potentially somebody that's going to ask you that question. Jody's saying, in terms of her lymphedema and the body expanding out the way it did, she's saying countless times, it's a point of curiosity and wondering how I manage the lymphedema. You see, people care. They want to know, how do you cope with that? Now, for those of you who know that I actually had problems with my feet swelling, sometimes called edema, I want to tell you something. I have found the simplest answer to that. And I cannot believe it's taken me this long. And funny enough, knowing Jody helped me find the answer. Jody, was telling me about, the system she has that helps in, her with her lymphedema. And it involves pressure and it involves vibration to create make the muscles move and push the fluids around the body. And I thought, wait a minute, I've got a massage, pad. Why don't I put my legs on a massage pad and make the muscles work? In the old days, we used to have a vibrating belt. All right. I could probably do with that right now. And, that helped our muscles work. And I was thinking, I should really get that massager to work my muscles in my legs. And it has helped the swelling in my legs. And Jody, thank you. Because if you hadn't discussed, the process you go through to help yourself with that lymphedema, I wouldn't have worked that one out. I don't even take the pills anymore, Jody, because I know it and how to work. All right. So Niesh is saying, yes, I understand, but they use your illness that you told them about against you. Yeah, I know that. I have told my boss several times of my difficulty and why I need to sit down, but I still couldn't sit down for long. Yeah, I understand. Niesha, so we'll work with these things. All right. I would say that if your immediate boss doesn't understand, then she needs to be talking to her boss, because it looks like her boss understands. And, maybe if you get a chance, do you get to talk to her boss at all? The person above her? Or maybe your daddy can, all right? What I'm saying is, I think somebody needs to just have a word with her boss and explain to her this is not you being lazy. This is something that you need to do. And that, she needs to stop writing you about it because it's not your choice, it is a necessity. And so to me, I would say, can your daddy talk to somebody about it? I would find an answer to this somehow. So keep asking, Nyasha. We're going to get this. Okay, Lauren, good to see you. And we love you too, honey. And be careful, please. I didn't get the answer whether you got one of those long arm things to pick things up. I know exactly what Nyasha's talking about. I've got one hidden in a cupboard here somewhere. Yeah. All right, people. So we are over time. How many of you can imagine? I'm going to rest well tonight. It's been a very busy day, but I got it all done. That is what I'm really happy about. So we got to learn a bit today and we got to laugh a bit today. And I got to get the house ready for a showing, which has happened. I have no idea how that went. I'm sure I will hear. You see, it's out of my control. And there's no point my worrying about it. I just do what I have to do. So I hope you've enjoyed the change of scenery. And that's where Big Brother Jeff was sleeping when he was here. And oh, you can see my ring light that is in front of me here. It's showing in the window there. All right. So everybody, thank you so much for taking the time to be here. It's my pleasure, Jody. As you know, it really is my pleasure. As I said at lunchtime today, I could have cancelled both broadcasts and been perfectly uh, within my rights to do that. But why? I would rather be here with you guys and helping you guys. I'm glad that you find it educational, Nyasha, and I'm hoping that it's also fun. It was interesting that somebody tuned in to the broadcast we did last week when we heard about Aaron's daddy and watched my reaction to what happened. And they said, I could come in and lighten up the broadcast a bit for you. And I smiled to myself and went, isn't it a pity that that person is uncomfortable with reality? You see, I think that what Erin did when she told us that her father had passed, I think that the courage that it took to tell that during a broadcast was absolutely incredible. And I'm certain you all saw that my reaction was very real. And I don't need anybody to lighten that one up for me. I think that is life. All right. I think that those of you who were there during the broadcast and watched me react, you know that is how I would have reacted if I got the email saying that. To me that is quite normal. I was not embarrassed to react that way. It was the most honest I could be. On the other hand, I worked really hard to get control, and some of you saw that, to get enough control so that I could get back on track to continue the broadcast without feeling that Erin would not love me for that. No, she didn't. No, Nyasha, she didn't do that. I had somebody who was not talking in the chat that was actually watching. And they were saying it was not a troll. No, it's somebody I know that chose not to be in the room by chatting. And the interesting thing was they were saying that they wanted to come in and make it fun. And I'm going, don't you ever do that? When you're dealing with real stuff like that, nobody wants it to be fun. That's not a fun time. That is an incredibly sad time, and that's okay. How many of you understand what I'm saying? That there are times when it's okay to be sad. There are times when it's okay to hurt. There are times Jody, I'm thinking about you and all that happened to you. There are times when it's okay to be so scared that you're not sure how you're going to survive this. I think that is okay. All right. The trick is, how do you balance it out? And that's what we work on. So we don't stay in that victim mode, so that we can move out of it and enjoy part of our life. So I really thank you all for being here. Yes, we experience the ups and downs of normal life within this extended family. Yes. And Jody, that is exactly, it is exactly what I wanted to create, is for people to see this isn't unusual. This is just life. We're all going to have a loss, whether it's a pet, a parent, a loved one, or a relationship loss, or whatever. We're all going to have to experience it. So hopefully we can learn how to deal with it better. And so, to me, all of you are so vital in helping each other just by coming in and talking about life. I'm certain a lot of you relate to some of the things that Nyasha is talking about because you have had to learn them. I am certain that some of you can relate to the fact that, I have this, still have an addiction to sugar. Most days I manage to turn away from it, but today wasn't one of those days. But I could hear Jody in my head going, "You know something, Sal? It's okay. You've had a good day of not, eating sugar. So even if you have this, it's probably not going to count that much. And also, if you know what to do to balance it out." And Jody, what made me smile was when I told you about it, is exactly what you told me. Yes, Niasha, we are humans. We cry, we laugh, and we verbalize what we're thinking. And that's what makes us grow as a group. Absolutely. Yes. And we work hard as a group to learn these things. And I hope you all know that I struggle with these things as much as you do. All right. On some of them, I'm a little bit more experienced because of my age. But really, the same things terrify me as terrify you. The same fears hit me every day. Right? You know something, Jody? You can say your work is done, but it isn't. Yeah, you mean about the diabetes lessons, all right? I want to tell you that you will stay in my head. All right. It's really funny. I know people say that they hear me during their everyday. What would Sal do now? And they can hear me. But I want to tell you, when I was looking at that Mars bar, I went, no, no, no. And I went, yes, yes. It's okay to have the Mars bar. And then I got home and I looked at the vanilla slice, and I can remember that argument I had where in my brain, and I was looking at the vanilla slice, and I went, it would be better probably to eat that tomorrow. And I went, no, I'm eating that today. And I've been so good, and I will keep on track for the rest of the day, but I am eating that today. All right. Because you taught me well, Jody. You taught me not to beat up on myself about this. And it's probably the most important lesson that you have taught me, Jody, is not to overthink the damage of sugar. And yes, it's not good for me, but does it mean, you know, that I'm really out of control? No, it's only out of control if I can't get back to where I need to go. So you see, we all inspire each other. Jody's saying the Asher Sal inspires me every day as well. I'd like to say we all inspire each other. How many of you are going to be more careful leading out of your bed? So make sure you don't do what Lauren did. I think that's a real big heads up. Be careful. You know, be very careful how you lean. I'm thinking about the actress Zaza Gabor. She did the same thing, and did a really quite a nasty injury to herself by doing that. So I'm out of here, right? This is Dear Mama Sal saying, tomorrow I am resting. Saturday is my day. And tomorrow I'm going to just rest. I may binge watch something. So, big hugs to you all. We'll see you on Sunday for Soul Sunday, and we'll be back in our usual location. This is Dear Mama Sal saying thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your truth. And thank you for just being who you are, because that's all we need you to do is be who you are and keep telling the truth. It's telling the truth that helps us learn. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, look after one another, but remember, please, 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 remember to look after yourself. Be more concerned about what you're doing and your actions rather than everybody else's. Bye-bye for now. Keep smiling.